Today, the New York Post released several emails between Hunter Biden and a Burisma executive. And what they show is that not only did Joe Biden actually meet with a Burisma executive in Washington, D.C., presumably on behalf of Hunter Biden, but also the Burisma executives asked specifically for Hunter Biden to use his influence to help the company. These are pretty damning pieces of information, but we'll see if anything comes of it because, the media loves Joe Biden. Now keep in mind, the first email is relevant because Joe Biden has said he never talked to Hunter Biden at all about Burisma. Specifically, I've never discussed my businesses or their business, my sons or daughters, and I've never discussed them because they know where I have to do my job, and that's it. They have to make their own judgments. Now he may say that, and he's said that countless times, but an email obtained by the New York Post shows that a Burisma executive thanked Hunter Biden for helping him meet Joe Biden 12 months after Hunter started working there, getting $50,000 a month, which is an absurd amount of money for doing literally nothing. The email reads as follows: Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to DC and giving an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time with him. It's really an honor and pleasure. Now this email was written by a Burisma executive, I won't say their name because I'd probably butcher it, thanking Hunter Biden for helping him meet Joe Biden in the first place. Now, it's possible that the three of them met and didn't talk about Burisma. I mean, it's a possibility. But it doesn't seem super likely considering that he's a Burisma executive meeting with Hunter Biden, who also works for Burisma, talking to the Vice President of the United States. I doubt they just talked about the weather, especially when you consider the fact that a few months after that meeting, Joe Biden flew to Ukraine and strong-armed the Ukrainian government into firing its top prosecutor, who was investigating Burisma for alleged corruption. Something that Joe Biden essentially bragged about, saying that he went to Ukraine and within 6 hours got this prosecutor fired. Now, I don't know about you, but if you have the Vice President of the United States who meets with an executive from a company where his son also works, then goes to that country and demand that the government fire a person investigating that company, that seems like an issue. That's a huge conflict of interest, if nothing else. But the leaked emails don't stop there. We have another email, again, to Hunter Biden. This is just a few weeks after he started working at Burisma. The same executive asked how you could use your influence to convey a message or signal to stop what we consider to be politically motivated actions against Burisma. So just a few weeks after he was hired, you have a top executive saying you need to use your influence to help out the company because we're being investigated here and we don't like it. And the only influence that Hunter Biden had was his dad. He was literally a nobody. Hunter Biden was a nobody. The only reason Hunter Biden is anybody is because Joe Biden was the Vice President of the United States. That is his influence. A Burisma executive was asking Hunter Biden to use his influence on Joe Biden to help out the company. Something Joe Biden then actually did a year later. This does not seem like a coincidence to me. The New York Post article concludes, it is a joke for Biden to dismiss reasonable concerns about the perception of a conflict of interest. It damages America's international reputation and calls into question his own judgment. American voters deserve to know. Which I certainly agree with. But Joe Biden doesn't really seem concerned about what American voters deserve to know. Because he said essentially that voters don't deserve to know his position on court packing until after the election. So, he doesn't seem to have a lot of respect for the voters. It is still possible that all of this is one really big coincidence. I don't think it's likely, but sure, let's go with that possibility. The issue here is that the media is going to pretend that it is just a coincidence, that none of this really exists. But they would never do the same thing for a Republican. And we don't have to speculate about this, we can prove it. Just think about the Trump Tower meeting that happened during Donald Trump's campaign. Now there, you had Donald Trump Jr. meet with Russians, and they were essentially saying, we have this information on Hillary Clinton, do you want it? And he was being fairly open to it. That was the basis, or one of the bases, for saying that Trump was colluding with Russia, even though Trump wasn't there and had no impact whatsoever on what happened. And yet that was enough evidence to say that Trump was, without a doubt, colluding with Russia. For years, that's what we heard. And now we have real evidence that Joe Biden actually met with someone from Burisma a few months before he then helped out Burisma as a company, but that's not enough. This is still going to be just a coincidence. That's what the media is going to portray it as. And we know they'd take a completely different tactic against Republicans because they already did with the Trump Tower meeting. This just shows the hypocrisy of the media and that they're going to do anything they can to get Joe Biden elected. Now, it's possible maybe this will pick up in the news, but I haven't really seen it anywhere aside from right-wing publications. But what do you think about all of this? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.